All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Chat with Charlie.
And my co-host is Dr. P.
What's going on, Charlie?
Nothing much, guys. What's up?
Breathe, Charlie.
I agree 100%.
Let me just be clear here. He does not agree with everything I say.
Not everything.
Hey, Charlie, it's time for your one-on-one.
I do it for fun. Fun?
No lollygag.
We are in the people business.
Have to have the right person.
The game is not over.
Because I want to beat everybody. I just want to be me. Chat with Charlie and Paulette.
Yay!
It's going to be a good 2-3. I'm going to enjoy it. We may have to cut this out, Mark.
No.
All right, guys, you're here for episode 17 of Chat with Charlie and my lovely co-host, Dr. Paulette Collins. How are you doing?
Hello, peeps.
And I don't know if you can see the couch here, but
Check it out.
I don't think we've ever had such distinguished guests on our couch. So I, for one, am a listener and a participant in this, if that's okay. But we got the great Chancellor and Mayor, Dr. Kenny Alexander.
Thank you, Charlie, for having me.
Yes. And we have our best and brightest and most special boss, CEO, everything you can think of, Dr. Joel English.
Hey, so great to be here.
Perfect.
Love the couch, love the studio, love it all.
Okay, well, we'll have some good editing too. So we'll have that time. So I was just telling them we've got, like you guys know, we'll film for about 40 minutes, do a little just talking, just general talking, just loose about you guys, about the city, about the great things you guys are doing for our institution, especially with political leadership and just the amount of work you put in that I don't think people truly understand. And it's an opportunity just to talk about that. But first, we're going to turn it over to you, Joel.
Hold on, Charlie.
Okay.
But before he does that, let's position the couch. Okay. So Dr. English and Dr. Alexander, our audience are directors of admissions, but it does bleed out to campus executive directors. You guys have seen it. And they have an opportunity to learn more about who's on the couch. So let's do a couple icebreakers real quick. All right. So some DOAs. CEDs know you guys pretty well, but the DOAs want to get a chance to know you even more. Okay.
All right.
So can each of you tell me, and the rule is you have to say the first thing that pops up in your head. Okay. What's your favorite song right now?
With or without you. It's a little old, 1987, The Joshua Tree.
Okay.
U2.
All right.
Favorite song right now, I would say it's spiritual. It's Blessed Assurance.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Charlie, what's yours? This for
My favorite song right now, right now I'm in a Jimmy Buffett mood.
Okay.
And so I've been listening to a lot of him. So
okay.
I can't even count one that I really like, but all of them as an artist I've been listening to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And wait a minute. And you.
Okay.
I'm sure you can't use the whole title for your songs, but bleep out whatever you can.
First, you got to put some parameters around that. Because in the morning, I start off at the gym, so I have to get myself going. So my first song that comes to my head is I'm Me by Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't play that out loud at your desk. Don't play it at your desk, guys. Okay? All right. Favorite food? Dr. Alexander, favorite food?
Oh, nachos.
Nachos, really?
Yeah, love
I
nachos.
didn't know that.
See.
Nachos. I didn't know you were a nacho
I
guy.
love Mexican food. Yeah, nachos.
Okay.
Really?
I do.
I did not know that either.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never even seen you eat nachos.
I know. Because it's messy.
We know at 9:30 at night.
So,
He's in there,
So I'll do tacos and nachos at night, and that's my go-to.
I love it.
On the fly, just nachos. It's messy, so I don't do it. You don't see me either because it's sorry.
You got a special shirt for that.
Special shirt, yeah. Special shirt, special beer.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. Dr. English?
Yeah, this may be cheating, but it is the honest answer. Any meal that my wife cooks for me.
Oh, it's great.
Oh,
Catherine.
That's awesome.
I know, but I'm telling
That's
you,
true.
Catherine has a lot of roles. Greatest partner and a spouse, greatest mom. She is a physical therapist. She runs a nonprofit organization in Norfolk, does so much. But in my opinion, her greatest talent is her cooking.
Wow.
It attracted me to her when I was 23 years old. It attracts me to her today.
Wow.
My wife's cooking.
That's good. That's good. Go ahead.
Well, I'll give my shallow answer. I'm not going to name the food, but I'm going to name the place. And that's tacos at Jesse's in Norfolk.
Yeah, exactly.
That is my
Not far from your
absolute
home.
favorite.
Really?
You can walk.
So-
Walk right there.
Yeah.
Walk right there.
Okay.
And it's Taco Tuesday. Just a little shout out to Jesse's for those of you come here. On Taco Tuesdays, it's buy one, get one free. And it's well worth it.
Charlie just cheated off the mayor chancellor's paper.
No, I eat it in front of everybody. I don't care. I let it go.
Oh my God. Wait, when is that?
Yeah.
My favorite, believe it or not, is
Lettuce.
pizza.
Pizza.
No.
It's a meat lovers.
I love pizza. I love
Really?
it. I like pizza with the cheese and the crust. But I
Like
can't-
Pizza Hut?
Like, I'll eat anybody. As long as it's not 7-Eleven pizza.
Wait a minute.
But yeah.
Wait, hold up. So you guys know Neptune Festival 2 years ago, I had got hotel rooms for the people that were working the whole weekend. It's a great event that we do here. And Paulette did not like my hotel room because one, she had to leave her socks on because she didn't want to walk on the floor, and she was very mad at me for the hotel
agree
room.
with you with that.
This is the same woman who says, well, I get Pizza Hut stuffed crust anytime and grease it up.
I like it. I don't have it,
That's
but if I
surprising,
want to cheat,
Paulette.
I'll get a slice of pizza.
That's surprising.
Maybe two.
Doesn't that blow you away?
That's
I would have
surprising,
never
Paulette.
guessed
I
that.
love pizza. I love pizza.
Okay.
I just can't eat it like I want to.
This is not what I expected at Chat with Charlie, but it's awesome.
A lot of payroll on this couch. So let's get some good stuff here. Well, we need one more though. I know you got
Yeah,
one more.
last one. Favorite movie.
Oh,
Dr. English, you first.
Right, the Matrix. Sorry.
Okay, Matrix.
yeah.
Okay.
Love the first Matrix, but I think my all-time favorite movie, the one that I would go to time and time again, is Big Lebowski.
good one. That's a really good one.
Like Alexander?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Ooh.
Ooh.
It's
My
classic.
man.
Oh, yeah. It's
My man.
so many stories, so many levels. It's moving. It's a tearjerker, but yeah, Atticus and Scout and just the innocence of that story is powerful. The whole trial, the whole court case. It's moving.
Okay. All right. Charlie?
I promise you, I'm not picking back on this for an older movie, and I can't think of the director, but it is my absolute favorite. In fact, I watch it probably every year. 12 Angry Men.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That is there's so many things in that you learn about human beings, psychology, how to be aware. You got nonverbals and things like that. If you have not seen that, it's just a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. They were just tucked away and had to come up with a verdict, and went from having the young man to be guilty to acquittal.
Yep.
It's a great movie.
And he stood his ground. It's
stood his ground,
commitment and
yeah.
conviction. Yep.
It's one of those great movies with a lot of moving parts, and it's great. Everyone should see that movie.
And I'll say, another thing, and it is pertinent, especially for DOAs, is everybody has a story you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And in that movie, they were voting based on their historical biases or vantage points or something detrimental happened to them that you don't know. You just heard what they said as far as what their rationale of either guilty or innocent based on this movie. And it just, there's so many things you can learn from. Every time I watch it, I learn something different. So
Even when the one gentleman who was a holdout, he was a holdout because of his relationship he did not have with his son.
that's right.
And he just thought the young man was guilty based on his non-relationship with his own son. And to see him break down and come around from having the young man being guilty just because of a demographic or because of that young man's upbringing to acquittal because of a non-relationship.
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
had. So I think it's powerful.
And we do it too, like in financial aid, and we're doing an interview, we compartmentalize a situation that happened before and impose that on that situation. And we're always taught in training, you got to individualize everything because you can't compartmentalize
Great story.
certain situations. But good.
Go. Did anybody want to talk about whether it's right to roll on Shabbos?
Help me out.
Big
here.
Lebowski.
Oh, you know, I just
Sorry.
I gotta
Sorry,
tell you.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm
No,
in
we
the
said-
way. I'm in the way.
You did the wife thing, and now I'm trying to be all in. Like, I'm like, I got something better
get
now.
one in.
I'm like, my wife's best cooking is microwave. So I'm sorry.
Edit.
Marjani, strike that from the record.
At least he didn't say takeout.
See, I said there's effort.
I'm a Godfather girl. If
Oh
I
my
find
God.
out it's gonna come on and they start and they go
Heck
back to back to back,
Yep.
I will strategically plan my Saturday to sit on the couch and watch them all day long. And I won't do any laundry. That is the only thing.
Really?
It will take me off my schedule because I love the evolve of the family, the dynamics. I love all of that. So I'm a Godfather.
Dwayne
girl.
too?
Yeah, but
Okay.
mostly me.
Sopranos or just Godfather?
Just Godfather movie
Okay.
from start to finish.
All right.
Yeah. It'll take me off my whole day. Whatever's on the schedule. If I find out it's coming on TMC, by the way, all day long. All right.
Can you see her sitting down long enough to finish that movie
Listen,
without
that is
doing
the
anything?
only thing
She's
that will do it.
multitasking. when she's
Tell me
doing
there's
it.
not a laptop.
Exactly.
Now,
Yeah,
now, that will happen. I will have my laptop. I will do that.
Multitasking.
I will do that. So thanks, guys, for being transparent.
Thank you.
Letting the couch breathe a little bit. DOAs get to know you and what you do sometimes. So we want to talk about, because our audience are the DOAs, Directors of Admissions. But one of what we've seen in the company over the past few years is the involvement of partnerships. We have, in the Hampton Roads area, done a lot. Across all of our schools, we've expanded our partnerships. And so what we want to know, we're going to ask questions kind of geared toward that. And keeping in mind that our Directors of Admissions, although they're not out with the CEDs, they actually come in contact with those individuals where they're potential students. A lot of times the Directors of Admissions provide the tours for those individuals that come to visit our campuses and engage with those individuals. So my first question for either of you, whichever you decide, in that vein of partnerships, relates to your expectation of a Director of Admissions in a partnership, whether it's a seasoned partnership, a new partnership. We know what the face of a DOA looks like, a CED looks like. What does that look like for you as a leader, as a Director of Admissions, when we have these great partnerships?
Yeah, man, great question. And I like how specific you're getting. And so what is the head of the admissions department's role in this? And so let me start by saying this. I've got a number of little sort of mottos or sayings that kind of form how I come to work every day and how I think about our organization as an institution. And one of them is this: a school doesn't mean anything unless it means something to the community around it. You've heard me say that a number of times, and I absolutely believe that. We're not a great trade school unless the community says, hey, that trade school down the street, my cousin went to that, or I'm thinking about my niece going to that school, or they redid the HVAC in our church, or we have a few people that we hired from that school. I'd like to get more. Unless there's conversation in the community about our schools, then we're not meaning anything to the community around us. The first time I sort of graduated or got a promotion from being a one campus director to a multi-campus regional director. That was 2011 in my career here. And the first question I had for all of the campus directors that I worked with was, if I was a random citizen of Virginia Beach or Norfolk or Chesapeake or or Kansas City, my first group of schools, if I was a random citizen of this town and I drove by the school and I saw that sign, Aviation Institute of Maintenance, Centura College, what would I think? Would I think, oh, that's one of those for-profit schools? Would I think, I've never seen that before. Wonder what they do in there. Would I even turn my head, or would I say something like, oh, that's where they train electricians. That's where they train wind turbine technicians. That's where that's that aviation school they talk about where the students come out. Or would I think, They came to my church last summer, and 2 or 3 people applied and were interested in going. I wonder if they, if those folks enrolled in the school. Whatever, I tend to think that one of the worst answers of what do people think when they come by your school is, oh, I didn't know that was there, because we haven't done our job of saying we are here. And we if we're going to mean anything, we've got to mean something to somebody. So now to get to your question, what is the DOA's role? My answer is this. In any leadership team, and I consider the main leadership team of a campus 3 people mostly: campus director, director of admissions, director of education, and then, of course, more staff around them. If there's an assistant director, that's one of those team members. But those top 3 or 4 team members are always going to have a personality mix. And sometimes it's one or another person's role to be out there, but the most time we rely on that director of admissions to be that energetic face. I mean, usually folks in the admissions department are the more outgoing, the more let's get us out there. And I rely on a director of admissions to pull the others there. I'm an educator by heart and by training and by everything. But I know that me, this introverted educator, need a sales-oriented, a public face-oriented person pulling me out of my comfort zone and into the community where it's not always a comfort zone, and saying, if we're going to mean anything around here, we've got to be of the community, in the community, one with the community. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Our directors of admissions are extroverts typically, and they show up. So giving them that perspective, don't be afraid to show up, DOAs. Don't be afraid when you see individuals at your campus. Show up, drive that tour, lead that tour, talk to individuals, ask more questions. And I think with the DOAs, what they see is when the CED takes charge, then okay, I'll let the CED roll. But we are a team. And as that enrollment team progresses and more individuals are at your campuses, show up. They want to see it. They want to see you show up more. So let's show up.
Yeah.
What about you, Dr. Alexander?
Yeah, I think Dr. English did an outstanding job explaining the role of the director of admissions. When the director of admissions understands that we are interdependent, interconnected, interrelated with the community around us, we don't work in silo. We work with that community, and that our mission is not that far off from organizations, be it the government or other for-profit or even nonprofit organizations in the community, because at the end of the day, we have a common goal. We all are trying to achieve greatness for our communities where we are, be it our businesses are there, we live there, or we worship there. We have a goal. We want to improve the betterment of society. And how do we do that? We work in concert with those organizations that are there. If you look at their mission and look at our mission, we're not far off.
At all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And if we look at our aspirational vision, where we want to go, we're not that far off.
Yeah.
If we look at the roadmap, which is the strategic plan goals, we're not that far off.
Yeah.
And so if we stay within our comfort zone, then we won't accomplish much. But together, we will accomplish much. Lastly, Dr. English talked about leadership. One of the things that we find in leadership is that we all are waiting for someone else to take that lead. And so the director of admissions is waiting for the campus director. The campus director is waiting for the director of education. And then we aren't moving because everyone is waiting for someone else to go first. I would say, to Dr. English's point, the director of admissions should be promoting, selling, marketing the campus to the greater community.
Yep.
And then once that community comes into our world, on our campus, then the director of education, the campus director, and others can play their role in explaining further our bandwidth, that we are here to strengthen, to uplift the community that's around us. We're one with the community. We're the same essence. We're one of the same. We're not separate.
Yeah.
And so that's the message that Dr. English is. He's pounded that in us, and it's part of our culture. It's part of our way of life. It's part of what we do. So, I think that what we're missing, and a lot of times, is just stagnation. We're waiting for someone else to take the lead. Go outside of your campuses and bring that world that's around you into your campus.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just thinking about this while you guys were talking. I got 3 terminally degrees people here. And we got Bachelor of Science, Charlie. So I'm trying to hang with you guys. But
not everybody finishes.
It's a team.
Congratulations,
It's a team,
Charlie.
right?
thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not an ABD. I'm just going to put ABD because I could be. You don't know. There's 3 things you said, and the first one I just want to talk about. There's something called the Abilene effect. Have you guys heard about that? Heard about that before? It's basically what you said. It's a metaphor for a family that they all get into a car together and they go to King's Dominion. They get to King's Dominion parking lot, and one of them says, "Well, what are we going to do first? Well, what do you want to do? You wanted to come here. Well, I thought you wanted to be here. Wait a minute, I thought you wanted to be here."
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out no one actually wanted to go, but no one did anything or said anything. The premise of it, basically, I'm really breaking this down, probably too elementary, but the point of it is they did all these things with thinking the other one either wanted it or was going to do it or not.
Right.
And you're kind of saying the same thing when you're in an atmosphere like this. Oh, well, Joel's got that taken care of. What do I need to do? Or my CED's got that, and I'm just worried about my focal point. So I think that is a really good point to take in and probably digest a little bit more. But the other 2 things, and I mean this sincerely, I consider you guys mentors, and there's 2 special things that you guys do that I think anybody listening to this can learn. And the first one is patience. Patience in your plan, patience in your vision, and seeing it kind of unfold, and having that confidence that what you're doing, I don't need the noise. I know what I'm doing here. And I really have a lot of respect for both of you to do that. And I've learned that late in my career. You and I have talked about that. Some things I picked up on. And as DOAs, we're so immediate gratification. Sometimes it's the long game, right? It's not just the start or just that person. I mean, 6 months down the road, don't have a GED. Well, let me work with them. Let's play the long game with them. Right. Single mom, 3 kids, can't scratch the money together to pay for it. That's okay. Let's put a long game together. Right. So I think there's some correlation there on what I especially learned from you guys. But the second thing I learned from you guys, and it's really, with Joel and the company, is we're a flat organization. And I think for the longest time, I thought that was bad. I really did. And I got here and I'd be like, what are you doing? That's my sandbox. You back off, right? But what I learned is many hands make light work, right? And what Joel plants the seed, but we need to water it. We need to talk to it. You need to get it growing. Yeah. And I have, in the 3 years I've been here, have really learned, man. And I don't want anybody listening to this to downplay patience and the long game. And 2, you're a part of an organization that values every one of you for the success of our institution.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, man, and I'm not doing this. I know reviews are coming up, so hopefully you remember this. But I mean it sincerely. Those are 2 qualities that I haven't seen in, I'm not gonna tell how old I am, but in many, many years. And I want these guys to understand that for what they do and what they don't do in the impact. I don't know if you guys have any comments on that. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
No, you're right. I think Dr. English has established a culture that he wants us to genuinely, authentically emulate what he stands for.
Yeah.
And treat those of you who are leading campuses, be it in admissions or education or just as an executive director, treat your subordinates or your team members the way that Dr. English treat you. And if that's not resonated, if that's not felt and transmitted and transported throughout the organization, then we're missing.
Absolutely.
We're missing.
And that's our culture.
What he stands for.
That's our blood. That's what gets me up in the morning. You know what I mean? Joel, and this isn't. We might as well try. This is the Joel episode, Kenny. But I do want to say something. I remember in an interview when I first interviewed with him, he said something. And guys, this I want you to take this in for what you do. Don't. This is not just a discussion for you to listen in on. Digest some of this stuff because it will affect you. Paulette and I have both been DOAs, and a lot of this stuff we know now. Man, we sure wish we knew before.
Right.
One of the things you said in the interview, I can't remember what question was asked. I think it was eating a soft shell crab, which I thoroughly loved. And you said, I want to treat people the way I want to be treated. Yeah. And that's by action, that's by words, and that's by kind of countenance, if you will. And part of the things that I think we miss because of the home office and the disconnect with the DOA, so we don't see each other every day, is Joel's not going to come up to you or Kenny's not going to come up to you and say, I need you to do this. The spirit of it's there.
That's correct.
The roadmap is there.
That's correct.
Yeah. But you got to go down that path to get the Oz, so to speak. You got to take that golden path. And I think for a lot of us, either we're nervous about it, we lack the confidence in it. But guys, you're at an organization now that it's just not about throwing student numbers up.
Right.
Yeah. There's so much more to it.
It's outcomes.
You know what I mean?
It's the process. So Charlie, so in leadership, and I'll just be very brief. In leadership, there are three important factors. One is the leadership input. What your traits, your leadership dynamic, your style, your behavior, what are you bringing to the organization? And that's an input. And it's important to understand, are you patient?
Yeah.
How well do you communicate? Are you concise? Are you cohesive? Are you collaborative? That's an input. Yeah. It's an input into the organization. Yeah. And then there's outputs. And so what Charlie's talking about, what's the output? So if you put something in that's positive, it's likely that there will be a positive leadership output.
Mm-hmm. And that's a place I want to work because you're not working. Yeah. Sorry to cut you guys off.
Yeah. So here's the thing about the being treating people like you want to be treated. I think that that we should be able to do that, to have the highest standards, to have the highest of high standards, and still treat people even when they don't meet our standards, just like we would want to be treated ourselves, which is with patience and understanding and given a second chance. The interesting thing and what goes along with that is not getting upset and super excited and angry when our expectations are met. But there's two challenges that come with that. One of them is, if I'm going to have super high standards, higher standards than any other school system out there, which I do, and we do, and also not get super upset when those aren't met, what that means is we have to be quick to train and also a little quicker to let go when our standards are not being met repeatedly. So, we are an organization who is not afraid to say, I don't think this is going to work out. And quite frankly, we might make that call. This is not supposed to be the conversation, but we would be more likely to make that call before we get frustrated and angry and multiple times, because that's not who we want to be.
And that's not our culture. That is not the culture.
Yeah. So
you're swimming upstream with that.
Right. That's right. So we have to actually be ready to coach and train for sure, but also be ready to not be serially disappointed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great comment.
Yeah. It is.
That's a good comment.
And so when that question comes, is it time to let this rep go? Is it time to let this? Did we make a misdecision by putting that rep to an assistant DOA role? When it's time to make these decisions, sometimes we train immediately and express our immediately, but not be afraid to make a call, because if we wait too long, then frustration sets in and then we stop being.
And then you're not yourself, right? I think you've even said that too.
Yeah. What I've said is this, and this is the kernel. When continuing to employ someone makes you become someone you don't want to be, it's time to pull that trigger.
Yep. Yeah. And Charlie, that's interesting because you go from being this transformative or transforming leader to something other than, and that's not your default leadership style. So you become transactional, or you become less than your authentic self.
Yeah.
And you don't want to stay in
That's right.
that leadership style long. It's like a dynamic, and then you aren't functioning at your highest level of leadership.
Yep.
Because you've been forced to come to a space and place that that is not natural.
Yeah.
And you're not going to excel in that space.
That's good.
And with this, I'm gonna ask you, Paulette,
really
this
good.
question, and it's for everybody because it's really good. We're in the people business. We keep saying that. We say it over time. Can you be a selfish leader or a leader that, climbing the ladder, those type of things in a people business? You get where I'm going with that? I don't know if I asked it quite right.
But the answer is no. And the reason, because that's not team, that is.
But wait a minute, Kenny, I'm trying to move up the ranks.
Yeah, but you
I want to be Charlie. I want to be Dr. Joel Ingles.
You move up the rank when you develop, you attract, you inspire, you motivate others to become leaders themselves.
Yep.
Then Joel he will recognize that oh my God, there are individuals who were on Charlie's team are now raising their hands, and they want some of this. They want to be a leader. They want to move teams. They want to cultivate. It's called how do you cultivate high performing teams.
Yeah. I'm gonna say one thing. I know we stole the question from Paulette, but I do have one.
She's used to it.
Yeah. One,
Instead of one person, it's three. You guys.
Just take the mic. Just take it.
So one more thing to say about a leadership culture, and that is this: I do believe that my employees appreciate being respected and held up and being given additional chances and getting training. And I believe that when they receive that from me, they appreciate the environment. This is the one time I'm going to look at the camera. But what that requires is it doesn't suggest. What it requires is for you to treat your people that same way. And there have been times when I know that I've had employees, whether it's a campus director or whether it's a more junior leader within one of the campuses, who all day long will appreciate the culture that we have here, a culture of trust and faith and collaboration, but won't afford that to their own employees, as if there is some unwritten rule that says, well, that's what I get from my top leaders, but it's not necessarily what I give.
Stops
to
there.
mine.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
And so there have been a couple of times when I have been in the presence of one of my managers, and I've said to them, what makes you think that you can enjoy an environment of respect and collegiality, but not give the same thing to your employees? When did someone say you're the last level of respect and everyone below you? So that's something I won't sit for.
Yeah.
So when I say the golden rule, treat others like you'd be like to be treated yourself, there's a little bit of a finger wag that comes along with it, which is you must treat those around you like you want to be treated, because that's the only way this thing's going to work.
Good statement.
Right.
It's not 180, it's 360.
That's
right.
the deal.
All right, Paula.
This has been really good, especially for where we are as a director of admissions, because directors of admissions are expected to contribute so much to a campus. There's the outcomes for starts, but also we challenge them to be a full circle leader. We want them to develop people. We want them to train them. We ask them to create a bench at their campuses so that they can either be promoted, go to another campus. We ask them for career outlooks. We ask them to be a mini CED in some settings, right?
That's right.
So this is good, because in order to do that, what we're creating and what you guys have created on this couch is a level of autonomy that a DOA has to keep in the back of their head. It's not just looking at a start, it's thinking about the entire campus. I am a leader in training. I do have the autonomy, which means I have to be humble. I have to be consistent.
Yeah.
But also it creates confidence for me to grow, which in turn grows others. And so DOAs on this call, while you're watching this and listening to this, this is a leadership expectation, not just to make your starts, but growing as a leader, listening as a leader. The question about being selfish, I don't believe that. I don't believe you can be selfish. I don't believe you can be selfish with anything.
Yeah.
If you're a dictator or you this autocratic leader, but that's not what you're in the wrong place. If you are a dictator or some just autocratic personality, this is not for you.
Right.
This is a place where we're looking for you to attract, to develop, to emulate, and launch the next level of leadership.
The tail end of that answer is, I don't want you to be selfish, DOAs. I want you to be self-aware in your leadership. Dr. English mentioned two things. The challenge is being quick to train and determining when you need to dismiss. If you are self-aware in your leadership and you provided the training, you're following up with your people, you're documenting, it is okay, because I'm very firm in my expectations, but I'm okay with having that conversation because I know I've given them the respect they deserve and I've trained them and set very clear expectations. So when that challenge presents itself, you as a leader, DOAs, can treat the person with respect and also still meet the expectations you're given.
Absolutely.
So, I didn't want to miss that nugget because those were great nuggets. And then a DOA saying, hey, what does that look like for me? Well, if I'm going to get peed off and upset, and that's not my normal thing to do when I've set clear expectations, then I have to ask myself, did I really set clear expectations? Did I really train them? Did I really document them? I have to check myself.
That's
Absolutely.
self-awareness and emotional intelligence.
Right.
And you have to have, as director of admissions, you have to have self-awareness and emotional intelligence, because Charlie said it best, we're in the people business. And if you're not aware of your leadership behavior and you don't have that emotional intelligence, that you're not reading the room well, you're going to have a problem.
And it's 100% of the time. And I think you would, being a DOA, you may agree with this. So when I was a young DOA, not a young, I was doing it for a couple of years, and I was like that when times were good. Everything you're discussing, personality traits. But when times are bad, I showed my ugly. I lost this. And I remember her name's Carrie Perez. I'll give her a shout out if she ever listens to this. Carrie Dad, she's called me Carlitos. And she came to this woman did everything. I mean, she was she would go through walls for me. Got stressed. We were behind on our start, behind on our run rate. I lost all that and it turned into me. She came to my office and crying, and she goes, I'm doing everything you wanted me to do. What else do you want me to do? And man, I have never felt like I let someone down more than I did that day, because this is 100% of you. This isn't when times are good you.
Right.
Yep.
And then when you stress, I used to have an old mentor that I had previous to here, and he used to say that. He says, you'll see someone's real personality when times are tough. That's who they really are. And I don't want to show my ugly ever again. And I have times with that, because we're all human, but I learned something so much. And for you guys, you're down on your runway. You are 6 degrees. If you are not you are not that way. Yeah. You're still not going to make up the difference of it. So that negative emotion, that change of who you are, and turn it into about you is not good. And I learned that a very hard way, because I let a woman down that I had a lot of respect for, because I showed my ugly. Right. You know what I mean? That type of thing. We are a little bit out of time, so what we need to do is go to. Do you have any? I got one more question to go out, but do you have one more before that?
No, go right ahead.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. I wasn't going to do anything silly. I was going to, have you guys dance or something like that, but I won't do that. But we have a tagline, and I've had this tagline my whole life. It just happened to work out here, and it's train with purpose. I'd love for you guys to share with the audience and even us, what does that mean to you, that tagline, train with purpose? I'll start with whoever one you want to go. And Paulette, please, you can add something too.
We'll start with the couch.
Yeah, I'll just say it's simple. Our delivery is vocational, occupational, and technical education. Simple. We train those students who entrust us with their careers with a purpose-driven education, so they can immediately be ready to take on one of those high demand jobs, an entry level position, and they can go far.
Wow.
Yeah, so I love the tagline. It very clearly says there to the world that there is a mission along with the work that we train students for. But for me, there's an even inwardly focused meaning for train with purpose, and that's what each of us do at work every day. I've been asked before, hey Joel, what makes a good campus or a successful campus? And there's this thing that I've looked at over time. The thing that makes a successfully growing campus. There's one attribute that happens in every successful campus, and that is, and it's really simple. Every day, the campus executive director and the director of admissions meet. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a formal at 9 a.m. we sit down, or whether it's I make sure in the morning I come by and put a lean on the door and have a little this. Whether it's whether it's formalized or informalized, the most successful campuses have daily, not weekly, daily interaction between the campus executive director and the director of admissions, because that aligns the work, that puts equal yoke as we pull together, and so for me, train with purpose is training the way we operate and the way we do things, that training. And I'm just going to say, in my opinion, every director of admissions is in training.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They are in training, not necessarily to be a better and better admissions personnel, but training to become the next level in their career. Mm-hmm. When I look around our organization, half of our campus directors were former directors of admissions. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say you have to have admissions background to go into campus directorship, but it is to say half of them do. When I look at our regional directors, half came from admissions. When I look at the vice presidents, half, you and Mike Lanowet, have had time in admissions. And so that is to say, I don't look, even though I do look at these folks with terminal degrees to say that's probably the end of their formal schooling.
Still training.
Director of admissions, great, super important role, but probably not your last role with my organization. Mm-hmm. If I have anything to say about it.
And you do.
Yes.
So when I hear train with purpose, I love the vocations that we teach to, but we're all training with purpose every day.
Wow. Thank you for that.
That's
that
powerful.
Was good.
So for me, when I think about that, I put a parentheses behind train, and I think about train, parentheses, engage, inspire, motivate, encourage, because that's what we do. We do that with our students. We do that with our employees. We do it with our external partners. Mm-hmm. I've been at conferences, and we were at, true story, we were at PDC for ACCSC, and we were all at a table, all of us. And I say all of us. It was Jeremiah, myself, Leonard, Mike, Bragg, Chris Coley, Adrian Rothrock. We were all sitting there laughing, having a good time. Charlie, we were just laughing. And we were talking about the campuses and presentations, Ben Clark. And we looked over in another school. We're like, you guys are having a blast. Mm-hmm. Do you guys do this all the time? We were like, yeah. But we didn't know they were actually watching us. Mm-hmm. And one thing my father always used to tell me, Paulette, someone's always watching you.
Absolutely.
Watch what you say. Watch where you go. Watch what you do, right? Mm-hmm. So they were watching us in awe at how we engaged and how authentic and transparent it was. And I say that because when we train with purpose, those are the things we do. We inspire, we encourage, we motivate. We have individuals that glean from our successes. And it creates transparency because we're not afraid to talk about the things that we had opportunities with as leaders. Mm-hmm. We're not afraid to say, this is where I failed. Mm-hmm. This is where I needed help. This is where someone taught me to be better. I'll give Greg Daniel all the credit for it. But when I started as a regional, sat next to him, drove to Newport News and was like, hey, there's no rule book to this whole regional thing. I know how to run a campus, but all of these campuses, they think I can do this? So, it creates a humility and a confidence, but also we continue to do what we do. And it starts from the ground up. So that's what I think about when I think about Train with Purpose. And then it just bleeds into our students.
Wow.
Excellent.
Really good answers.
So, Charlie, your answer on that same question.
Well, it's my show, Kenny.
Oh, gosh.
This is the only time I can pull that. So I'm like taking advantage of that.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Strike that from the record. It's everything you guys said. I believe in purpose, period. I mean, just in life, how you walk, how you eat, how you do things. I just think, whoever your maker is or whatever you believe in, I just believe you're here for a reason. So take advantage of that at work or whatever. It's just, this is how you carry yourself with purpose. But it's not perfect. I mean, right. I can tell you. And I think the only thing that is powerful in having a purposeful life is being self-aware. And I think you guys all mentioned that because that's the only way I feel like you can internalize, right? Mm-hmm. And get to those things. But I tell you what, thank you. You guys are great. I tell you what, if you guys haven't targeted, they're always around. We're always visiting schools. You have to just sit with them. I find our organization, I was at an organization before this, and you'll know what I'm talking about a little bit, and I never thought I would find one again. I never did, and I have a better one, actually. I thought it was the same, but it's better at this point, so I appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here, for real. And Paulette, always happy to have you with me. And I'll tell you guys, we're just going to give a little shout out. Thank you for watching episode 17.
Thank you, guys.
For those of you that are going to, thank you. For those of you guys that are going to DOA meeting convention, what do we call it?
Conference.
What did I say?
DOA.
That's why you need a co-host. DOE conference. We're actually going to do a live episode there.
Yes.
So we're going to have an audience and everything. So we're going to have some fun with that. So be looking forward to that. Start thinking about what you want to say and what you don't want to say. More
theme music.
But yeah, so episode 17, thank you for being here. Any parting words?
Well, you mentioned the DOE conference. I got to tell you, we have a lot of events through the year, quarterly campus director meetings, a lot of different things. That is my favorite event for the year because it is where the brain and the heart come together. It's where the business and the business comes together. It's where my future leaders rise from, and I can't wait to see the crew when that happens in January.
It's gonna be a great time.
Yeah.
Anything left?
What he said.
Anything else?
Ditto.
All right, guys. We'll see you when we see you. Thank you.
Bye, guys.